What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king. Welcome back to more Let's Play Pokemon White. In the last episode, we finished up all of our shenanigans over on routes 17 and 18. Went and pushed a boulder off on route 2 that we had left behind because, well, we didn't have strength the first time we encountered it. And now we are here on route 6, about to head on into Mistralton Cave. So why don't we go and do that? This is a pretty important area, and you'll notice immediately that, we got darkness in here, which is another reason why we have Watchog with us. Watchog is going to use Flash, which is going to allow us to see a bit better. And now we may proceed. So I want the dowsing machine here for sure. I also do need to use strength as we make our way through this place, just so that we can proceed. And as I move these boulders around, I would like to talk to you about a brand new Pokemon that can be caught in this area known as Axew. Axew is a pure Dragon-type Pokemon that evolves into Fracture at level 38, and again into Haxorus at level 48. There is not enough good I can say about this Pokemon. Its base physical stat is off the charts at 147. It rocks good defense, good special defenses, very good speed, and it is just a monster physical sweeper. It is the perfect physical counterpart to Chandelure's special attacking prowess. Not to mention, it just looks awesome. The only downside to picking up this Pokemon is that it has two potential abilities. One you definitely do not want, and the one you definitely do. If you catch one with Rivalry, release it immediately. Don't settle until you catch one with Mold Breaker. This ability completely negates the effects of abilities that would otherwise prevent you from landing a hit with a move. For instance, with Mold Breaker, you can land a hit on Pokemon that have Levitate with a ground move like Earthquake, something Haxorus is very capable of learning. Do not be afraid to pick this thing up if you can. Now, with all of that in mind, if it wasn't already immediately obvious, Axew is the Pokemon that I intend to catch as the last member of my team. However, it's going to be a little bit complicated because if you thought I was picky with, like, Lumiette, for instance, oh my goodness, you have seen nothing yet. I am going to have to get extremely picky with Axew, which is going to be made all the more annoying due to the fact that it has multiple possible abilities. I mean, so did Litwick, but Litwick's two different abilities weren't really a big issue for me. Like Flash Fire or Flame Body, I could have gone either way. With Axew, that's not the case, because if I get Rivalry, that is a Pokemon I need to immediately discard. No, it has to have Mold Breaker. Now, the good news is that with Axew, every single time you encounter it, it will tell you if it has Mold Breaker. It will literally say, this Pokemon breaks the mold. That's what it's going to say the second the battle starts, letting you know that Mold Breaker is active. So if it doesn't say that when the fight starts, you know you can just immediately leave, because Rivalry is not okay. Honestly, I would be okay with Rivalry as an ability if it only boosted damage against the opposing gender, but the problem is that it it lessens damage against the same gender, which is an issue. That is a serious issue that 50% of the Pokemon you could come across, you're going to be doing less damage to you. That's just, you can't have that. So, yeah, you definitely want to have Mold Breaker for that Pokemon. And then I'm also going to be really picky because I have a very good name in mind for the thing, and I would like to be able to use it, but I do need it to be a little bit gender specific due to its inspiration. So yeah, we're gonna get really picky, but I'm also not gonna be catching this thing right away either, because I'm going to wait until we get to the end of this cave to do so, because there is something else that's going to be grabbing our attention in this episode as well, which also means that we're going to be making another detour before we are ready to head back to Iciris City. So just bear with me. Don't worry, though, lots of items to be grabbed in here, which are going to be very, very nice. We do have some rare candies to grab, as well as PP ups. All these rare candies are going to come in a lot of handy here relatively soon, as a matter of fact. Got another Max Repel, I guess, to replenish the one that I had to use in this place. We got an item here for a Hyper Potion. And I think that might be all the items in this area, and now we can head on to the next floor. I am going to push this one into place, but only because that is what allows us to proceed. Nope, there is one more Hyper Potion. So the stairs up, or down, or whatever, okay, it is up, are right here in the middle of the room. So let me pop another Max Repel, and then we can continue upwards. Just hikers in this area, which isn't too bad, and of course that dust cloud appeared directly in front of me, which is a little bit unfortunate. I thought this was the area we could actually start catching wild, or encountering wild Excadrill, but maybe that isn't quite yet. I actually don't think that's until the next cave area, which is not going to be for some time. All right, let me head up here first, because, okay, I thought there was an item in this area, but there is not. Okay, we have to reactivate Strength, so let me do that really fast. If you could, Watchog. I do find it funny that Watchdog can even learn strength. Like, it still looks like a string bean of a Pokemon. But no, it's got some pretty good physical attack. Yeah, physical offenses. So I guess it sort of kind of makes sense. Got ourselves another Hyper Potion there. And then there is another item that I need to wrap around to reach. But I got to go this way to do so. Probably going to have to use another Max Repel. And that Dust Cloud is blocking the way. There's the Hard Stone, the rock type boosting equivalent. As we continue to get more of those, and I try not to explain those in any more detail than I already have. All right, let's see. Got another item here. TM80 Rock Slide. Thank you very much. Can you guess who I'm teaching that to? I already talked about how I really need to add this to Crush. And yeah, that is definitely going to be happening. And unfortunately, we are going to be getting rid of Crunch to make way for it. Although Bulldoze is honestly super tempting to get rid of in this particular scenario, just because Crunch does a little bit more damage, and also having a Dark type move could be pretty useful. So you know what? I think, granted this, yeah, and that's the thing, is this is only really good for dealing with like electric types, which Crush is already not super built for anyway. So you know what? Let's get rid of Bulldoze. It is a TM move after all. Crunch is a little bit harder to replace. So yeah, why not? I think that is actually the play here. I know it was a little bit of a last-second decision on my part, but I figured, it makes the most sense. All right, let's head all the way over here. We got 2 items. Although, again, another Max Repel I got to go through. My goodness. Almost done going through these things. I think we only need like 1 more for the after the one I just used for the rest of this cave. We got ourselves an Iron. I think I have to mull over who I'm going to give that to. I might end up giving that one to Shelob, another PP up. I'll be doling those out in due time as well. Oops, I did not mean to go in a circle there. I need to go here and push that one into place so we have a way out. And this is the final floor of Mr. Alton Cave. Now, this place does not require Flash, but once we head in here, we want to talk to this guy. I saw your skill. It's impressive for one so young. Maybe you're the one. Maybe possible. How about it? Will you listen to an old man's story? Sure. In the distant past, when Pokemon and people lived in different worlds, a war between people started on an intense fire in a forest where many Pokemon lived. The Pokemon were surrounded by smoke and flames. They were in big trouble. And then the legends Cobalion, Terrakion, and Virizion appeared. Terrakion used its amazing strength to destroy rocks blocking the escape route. Virizion used its quick movements to protect Pokemon from the looming flames. And Cobalion led the frightened Pokemon out of the burning woods. The people who started the war were routed by the power of the legends. Because of Cobalion, Terrakion, and Virizion, the war, was ended. When people fight, there's no peace for Pokemon either. The 3 legends learned that the deeds of humans could lead to dire consequences for their world. They cut themselves off from people and disappeared. No one saw much of them after that, and the 3 faded into myth. I've been searching for them for decades, and I finally figured out that one of them was deep in this cave. But the legendary 3 do not trust people. People approach, they bare their fangs and attack. Can't be helped because they only know the old world. They still don't know the world has become a place where people and Pokemon try to understand and help each other. You seem like you might be able to show them that people and Pokemon can trust each other and live together. If they take another look at people, I think they will stop hiding from us. Well, why don't we go have a look for ourselves? But first things first, we do have some more items to grab in here. So I'm going to grab myself an Ultra Ball. Thank you very much. And then this is, I believe, that's a Dusk Stone, actually, which is going to be coming super handy because that is what we are going to need to evolve Lampent. However, we need to wait a while before we're able to actually do that because we have to wait for Lampent to learn a certain move, which it doesn't get until it's in the 50s. 55, if I'm not mistaken. So it's still going to be a long ways yet before we're able to do that, but at least we now have a Dusk Stone on hand that we can use when that time comes around. And I do believe that that is Cobalion up there. But I'm going to grab all these items. Got a Carbos and a Rare Candy. I'm going to have to think about who I want to give that Carbos to. Let's push this boulder out of the way here really quickly. Get that in place, and let me also push that one into place because my strength is going to go away after this battle ends. And of course, that is when my Max Repel runs out. I'm going to pop another just so that it carries on over into after this battle is done. But yes, we are going to be catching Cobalion today. But given that this is a legendary Pokemon, and yes, I can obviously come back here to try to catch this multiple times, I still want to save because I've only got realistically, practically, one shot at this. Now, I do have, if I can go into my, well, if I could show the number of Pokeballs I have, I got 80 Ultra Balls, which should be more than enough for this fight because the catch rate on these guys isn't too bad, but it is still a legendary, so it's going to take a while. And let me just make sure my Pokemon are topped off here. Arthur could use a little bit more healing. I think I'm going to try to do this in such a way where I only really need to use Arthur for this fight. What I'm going to do, yeah, let's just top you off really quickly, and then I will save. And then hopefully we are good, so let me do that really quickly. And then we'll jump on into this thing. Are y'all ready? I hope you're all ready, because this is going to be a fight, and guess what? This isn't going to be the only Sword of Justice. Yes, that's what they called. Sword of Justice that we're going to be battling here in... well, here in the next couple of episodes. But let's begin with the leader, quote-unquote, of the group, Cobalion. Now, that being said, Cobalion may actually be the weakest of the three, at least in this particular game. Cobalion does get a little bit stronger later on. But Cobalion is the defensive stalwart. Pretty much all of the Swords of Justice have similar base stats. You got Cobalion, Terrakion, and Virizion, but then there's also a fourth unnamed Justice that we're going to be getting into a little bit later. Now, I'm going to use Coil to get my defenses up for the main reason that I want Arthur to pretty much just tank his way through this entire fight. I'd also like to get my damage up a little bit because Leaf Blade and Return aren't going to do much because Cobalion has Steel typing. It's also got Fighting typing, which means that Aerial Ace will actually be doing a little bit here. But I want to resist most of his attacks, which solely consist of Retaliate, Metal Burst, I believe, Takedown, and Double Kick, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's what it is. Every single one of the Swords of Justice shares the exact same moves except for 3. They have 3 moves that are different from one another. Cobalion's got 3 Steel-type moves, Terrakion's got 3 Rock-type moves, and Virizion has 3 Grass-type moves. And then we'll talk about Keldeo a little bit later on. They all have equal HP stats. They all have equal speed stats. Cobalion has the worst special defense, Terrakion has the worst special attack, and Virizion has the worst physical defense. Cobalion has the best physical defense, Terrakion has the best physical attack, and Virizion has the best special defense. There's one odd one out there in all of those scenarios, and I bet you can't guess who they apply to. That's right, that would be the 4th Sword of Justice, but we'll be getting into that one a little bit later. Now I'm going to start using some Aerial Aces here to get this thing down just a little bit while not doing too much damage here. I am tempted to use a Return, but I'm also a little bit afraid of trying to do that, so I think now is going to be the opportunity where we're going to start throwing Pokeballs at this thing. So I got 82 Ultra Balls on hand, and I also have some Dusk Balls as well. Why don't I lead with one of those just for the heck of it? Why not? See if we can catch this thing. I do fully intend to catch Ashu in one of these one of these Dusk Balls, just for, you know, a little bit of difference between our team. But I'm gonna mostly just be relying on Ultra Balls for this entire time. I could try a Return. I just don't trust it. I mean, I know it would be not very effective, but I'm very, very scared. It is better to get Cobalion into the red if I can, though. Oh, okay, so yeah, Sacred Sword. Sorry. I forgot that it learns it at this level. I didn't think it learned it until a little bit later on. I'm going to try this. Just very gentle. Very gentle hit. Nope, it didn't survive. Of course, because it was a critical hit. What is my luck? Thank you. Okay, so I just want to clarify that I was completely wrong with its movesets. It's Iron Head, Sacred Sword, Retaliate, and Helping Hand on this one. Moveset I was looking at was a later generation iteration of its moveset, so I apologize for that one. A little bit confusing. Gosh dang, Sacred Sword. Absolutely brutal move every single freaking time it hits. That is pretty much the signature move of all of these Pokemon. And what makes it so freaking good, if I can show it, is that it completely ignores defense and evasion stat changes. So it is the one move that Coil is not going to be helping me out against really at all, unfortunately. Okay, there we go. That's where I wanted to leave Cobalion. And now I can get to throwing Ultra Balls at this thing. I promise, though, that I am not going to be doing what I did in previous playthroughs where I show myself just in this war of attrition of throwing Pokeballs at these things until they're caught. No, I am only going to show it once it's in the ball, so yeah, catch you all later. Oh, wow, that actually only took 3 Ultra Balls. I cannot believe how quick that was. I mean, greetings exactly 60 seconds later. Man, I really could have honestly just shown that. Cobalion is ours. All right, that is the first Swords of Justice caught, and we are not going to give a nickname to him because I feel like that would be undignified for a legendary of his type. But now that that is done, the old man is going to approach us again. It seems that thanks to you, Cobalion has sensed a change in the world. It's a world where people and Pokemon help each other and live together. I believe Cobalion wants to remain with you and travel by your side. The fact that you battled Cobalion and you related to each other should be easily communicated to Terrakion and Virizion because of the close bond between the three. I'm sure they will also give you a chance to prove your worth. Indeed, I'm sure they will. In fact, Virizion is a Pokemon that... sorry, I was going to say, he's actually going to say it right now, though. The obstacles that separated Terrakion and Virizion from people are probably gone now. Whether you want to search for those two is up to you, but they are definitely waiting for you. Okay, so, yes, like he says, both of them are now open to us. However, only Virizion is actually in a location that we've already been to before. Terrakion, we have not yet gotten to where he is located yet, so we're not going to be able to meet up with him for some time. But Virizion is going to be the object of next episode, trying to catch that thing. My favorite of the Swords of Justice based on pure design alone. I think it is beautiful. But right now, to end off this episode, we obviously still need to catch our Axew. And now I am regretting using that Max Repel. So give me just a second while I hunt around this area. This is the room where you're going to want to do your Axew hunting. But like I said, I'm going to be catching a ton of these things because I need to make sure that I get the one that has exactly the stat and ability and everything combination that I need. And because Axew is not the only Pokemon that is in here, it is going to take some time to do so. I will be showing Axew the first time that I actually encounter it, and then we will be catching it. If that is not, that is definitely not going to be the one that I need, though, and then I will be moving on from there until I've got the Pokemon with the perfect stats, distribution, the perfect ability, and the perfect nature, and all that good stuff. So, see you all in just a moment. Okay, that's not the gender that I was hoping for, but it does have it does at least have this, the ability that I want. I'm just going to use this one sort of as a test dummy to see if it can survive my Aerial Ace, and it can. So what I'm going to do, there's also... I'm just going to catch this thing just for the sake of showing this really quickly. I'll just use an Ultra Ball on this one, though, since this is definitely not one I'm going to be keeping for my team. I want it to be female, but that is essentially what you're looking for. Axew has about a 20% spawn rate in here, so 1 in 5. And, of course, it freaking survived, which is also really not helpful in this scenario. I would really like it if you could actually go in the ball, please. Thank you. But I want to just catch this one basically just to show that I caught it, and then I will be moving on from here and catching a whole lot more after the fact. So, yeah. I was going to actually say see you guys all in a bit, but you know what? That is actually going to be it for this episode of Let's Play Pokemon White. Like I said, in the next episode, I am going to be heading to the location of Virizion. Now... can you guess which location that might be out of all the places we've been thus far? Virizion is a grass type, which means that it probably has its home somewhere in a forest somewhere. Is it Lostlorn Forest? Is it Pinwheel Forest? Well, I suppose you will find out in the next episode. But with all that said, thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this episode very, very much, and I will see you all in the next one.